voice. The voice is saying some Latin. I can't remember the exact words. Obviously, the female student was frightened and hurried to go back to the classroom. She then asked her professor what was the meaning of the word she heard in the restroom, and the professor said, "It means look up, look up." Another person commented saying, "I've heard another urban legend from the Philippines about a girl asking her roommate to walk with her to the bathroom. The roommate was dancing and laughing down the hall, and the girl just giggled along. They went back to bed after using the bathroom, and the girl woke up a couple hours later with a bunch of crumb and around her roommate's bed, and she had died. I think it was a suicide overnight. Once timing got figured out, the girl realized the roommate was dead when they went to the bathroom together." I don't even know where my Bible is, but I rebuke. Oh, it's right there. "There used to be an insane asylum by my friends in the 70s. It is probably 5 minutes away from my house, if that. But they tore it down in the 90s because it was just a giant eyesore and had a dark history of mistreating patients. There is a cemetery on the property with hundreds of unnamed people who died there. In the early 2000s, Walmart bought the land and wanted to build a Walmart there since you would be able to see it from the highway. They excavated and such, and the day before they were there, or the day they were, I can't read, they excavated and such, and the day before they were set to start construction, a huge landslide happened in the middle of the night that blocked the highways for days. Jesus, sorry guys, I cannot read today. Maybe that's why I took such a long break. I'm illiterate. If it would have happened at rush hour, tons of people would have died. Ultimately, it was deemed unsafe territory to build on, so it remains empty except for all the bike trails to the area, but no one ever rides during nighttime. LOL. I guess the people who died there didn't want to be chilling underneath a Walmart aisle then. It's not really a known creepy urban legend, but in the 1800s, in the Aoi Mountains in Idaho, there were a group of hunters staying in a cabin, and after failing to come back to their families, a search party was sent out to look for them. They found the cabin locked from the inside, with the windows also locked from the inside, and they found all the hunters dead with their heads crushed. No one knows who did it or how, but the incident repeated itself in like the 1970s or something. I live in Romania, and as a kid, the most common legend was the black ambulance that would steal kids and harvest their organs, and that kids' bodies were found a few days later abandoned on a field with some money for their funeral. Also, in my town, our parents would never let us go to the cinema because there was this legend about a man who would put infected needles on the seats. At least they were nice enough to, leave funeral money. We have 3 mysterious men in a car called the Guardians. Yes, that's what we call them, along Montana Highway 464. People have told experience where they have a car trouble and 3 men in a car drive up and help them out. Other people talk about headlights that disappear in places where they shouldn't disappear. We also have a Native American in a jean jacket and jeans who materializes in front of cars before they can swerve out the way. When the driver checks for a victim, no body is found. Someone commented, their names are Albert, Anthony, and Arnold, more colloquially known as AAA. Badoosh. I'll have to roughly translate it from Arabic, so bear with me. We call it the caller. It is told that in the middle of the night it calls your name and forces you to follow its voice until you reach a body of water. It then pulls you under, forcing water into every single hole in your body, no matter how small, and of course, drowning you. I think it was made up so kids don't go swimming at night. Not really creepy, but there's this one house in my hometown that is said to be haunted. There's a tray with a golden teapot on it, and the tray has scratch marks on it. The tray has been sitting in the same location for years, remaining completely untouched, and still to this day no one has is a disused Victorian railway which has been transformed into a 20-ish mile path for people to walk, jog, cycle, etc. and links different parts of the city just as the rail would have. Before that, it was disused and didn't have a tarmac or anything, just mud, grass, and there were no gates in the side doors of the tunnels. I don't know why I said oof. I don't know what accent that was. The tunnels are really dark in there, and we used to hang around in there when we were kids. We became aware of the urban legend of Joey the Clown, who was a lunatic who ran away from the circus, kidnapped a baby, and hanged it by its feet upside down from one of the pipes above the tunnel right into the path of an oncoming locomotive, which he jumped in front of. Rumors still persist that people have seen Joey's ghost in the tunnels, and if you were brave enough to go into the tunnel at night, you would hear him laugh, hear a baby cry, and the sound of a locomotive. My mother used this to her advantage when I was a kid by telling my sisters and I that Joey the Clown preys upon children who wear odd socks and who refuse to wear clean underwear. So of course, we'd all be wearing matching socks and make sure we had pristine underwear on when we ventured down to the old railway. Black shucks. Big black, ghostly, demonic dogs with glowing red eyes that are supposedly omens of death. They generally appear on roads at night. There's apparently a few of them around town, and some drag chains too. Also, one of them is actually a bear, but I have no idea why we have a ghostly demonic bear, because we don't even have paranormal bears in this country, or normal bears in this country. Flathead Lake Monster. The Flathead Lake in western Montana is one of the largest body of fresh waters on the side of the Great Lakes. 18 miles wide, 26 miles long, 400 plus feet deep. People have seen the FLM breach, the surface looking like the back of the serpent type creature. My theory is there's some big, monstrous 25-foot long sturgeons hiding out there, but who knows? The Huckapoo, or also known as the Night Marchers, are the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors who have been cursed to march the islands for eternity. The Night Marchers are said to march in a single line, often carrying torches and weapons while chanting and playing drums. To protect yourself, you must lie on the ground face down in respect, otherwise the Night Marchers will kill you, or so they say. There is a large burial ground for people who know too much or are a liability, mostly drug rings out on a part of the reservation that no police or tribal police have jurisdiction to be able to investigate. Unfortunately, I heard about, and so did my friends in high school, and we thought it was just a legend. Last year I learned it was real. I had a friend who got out of the drug ring and showed it to me. Where exactly? It's north, about 5 miles of a reservation town in Montana. I grew up in southern Utah near the Four Corners, in other words, Skinwalker country. Oh my god, 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 oh my god. That's why I chose this thread, okay guys? I just secretly wanted people to post about skinwalkers because that's my favorite urban legend. Please, if anybody has an urban legend story about skinwalkers or knows a good source for true stories, comment it down below. Sorry. Let me calm down. I have a lot of creepy stories about them, both from my own experiences and the experiences of others, but the chances are a lot of you guys wouldn't believe, and they probably belong to a different subreddit. However, the creepiest thing about them is that everyone, and I mean everyone, is scared of them. Most of the people in my town are farmers and overall pretty pragmatic people who aren't quick to believe or make up ghost stories. And yet, whenever I would ask an adult, what are skinwalkers growing up, the answer I always got was very serious. We don't talk about skinwalkers. Whether you believe in them or not, you have to admit the attitude in my hometown is pretty weird. Oh my god, please share some of the stories. You posted some of the stories. Okay. So, what I'm gonna do is, guys, I'm gonna read the stories about skinwalkers. fakes him out, but then he begins to